Hello folks. In this video I thought I'll just go through some of the stuff that I noticed. I closed quite some you know tabs. So let's just get rid of some more tabs before I go ahead and try out things. Right. I think this WS thing is actually only for Node.js, I think. Right. And I think I might need socket.io and not just plain WebSockets. Seems like socket.io has some stuff of its own. Yeah, I was checking out what socket.io is all about. So they actually have a tutorial over here. So somehow I checked out this also, I think. Installation, initialization, client API. Okay. So they have a tutorial over here. So it says if you're new to socket.io, we recommend checking out our tutorial. So let's go through this, right? So welcome to the socket.io. So there are different steps, by the way. Project initialization, serving HTML, integrating socket.io, emitting events, and then broadcasting. Overview of the API, handling disconnections, connection state recovery, server delivery, client delivery, scaling horizontally, ending nodes. Cool. So it says welcome to the socket.io tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll create a basic chat application. It requires almost no basic prior knowledge of Node.js or socket.io. So it's ideal for users of all knowledge levels, right? So writing a chat application with popular web applications like LAMP, which is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, has normally been very hard, right? So chat application using usual stacks. So it involves polling the server for changes, keeping track of timestamps, and it's a lot slower than it should be. Sockets have traditionally been the solution around which most real-time chat systems are architected, providing a bidirectional communication channel between a client and a server. So this means that the server can push messages to clients. Whenever you write a chat message, the idea is that the server will get it and then it will push it to all the other clients, connected clients, right? So the client pushes it to the server and the server pushes it to the destination clients that it should reach to, the message has to reach to. So how to use this tutorial? Tooling any text editor, from a basic text editor or to a complete IDE such as VS Code, should be sufficient to complete this tutorial. Additionally, at the end of each step, you will find a link to some online platforms, Code Sandbox, Chatbliss namely, allowing you to run the code directly from your browser. Great. So in the Node.js world, there are two ways to import modules. There is the common JS way. This is what I've tried out. And then there is also this way, which is basically this is like require.server. Instead, you just say it's just getting the server separately. So this one is import from. So yeah, I think this one requires your JavaScript engine to be smart and implement the latest ECMAScript and understand the latest ECMAScript, or you'll have to convert, that is transpile your code using something like Babel or whatever, right? So socket.io supports both syntax and then common and then ES modules, okay? So for your convenience, each coder allows you to select your preferred syntax. Awesome. So we'll just go with common for now. Project initialization. So I think here you say module and here you say common.js. First goal is to set up HTML web page that serves out a form and a list of messages. We are going to use the Node.js Web Framework Express to this end. Make sure Node.js is installed. First, let's create a package.json manifest that describes our project. I recommend you place it in a dedicated empty directory. I'll call mine socket chat example. The name probably must be unique. You cannot use a value like socket.io or express because npm will complain when installing the dependency. Awesome. So in order to easily populate the dependencies property with the things we need, we'll use npm install. So npm install and then express. So here we're using a Express web framework, right? And we are using the HTTP Node HTTP's Nodes HTTP standard library. So we say create server and provide like the Express app to it. it takes care of all the stuff. So we say server.listen, and we mention how the app has to do the routing. So yeah, Express initializes app to be a function handler, so that you can supply to an HTTP server as seen in line 5. We define a route handler that gets called when we hit our website home. We make the HTTP server listen on port 3000, so if you run this, you should see this, right? So, and if you point your browser, you'll get the hello world, right? So far, so good. So you have code sandbox stuff. So serving HTML, so here you just send files. Basically, it's a file server. So and you send HTML files. So in this case, you say specifically index.html file you're sending it. So you send a response with the index.html file, and we're going to serve that. And the index.html will have socket.io chat as a title, some CSS, and it will say form action is nothing, and input autocomplete off, and then send, right? So these are the messages. If you restart, you'll see this, right? And the next thing is integrating socket.io. So next you put socket.io, server that integrates with or mounts on the Node.js HTTP server, the socket.io package. Right. So it has two parts, server and a client. So client that loads on the browser side, server that loads on the Node.js HTTP side, right? So this library, we can actually use it on the server. So you do npm install socket.io and you get this, and you can put your oops, what did I do? No, I don't want to save this. I think I said print. Nope. Anyways, yeah, I think I clicked save as. Cool. So basically we create, we use or require the socket.io, import it, and then use that server and give it to the server, like socket.io server, give the HTTP server, and then on connection a user is connected is what we say, and you initialize an instance, and then they listen on the connection event, right? So now in index.html you can basically add the following snippet apparently, /socket.io /socket.io.js. So that's all it takes to load, which exposes an IO global and the endpoint. So basically you're getting the socket.io.js client just by loading this. Basically, I think this, when you pass this server, I think you can get the socket.io.js file through this, and it exposes an IO global, and the endpoint get and the endpoint get and then connect. Okay, so basically it's trying to do this, it's getting this, and then you have the IO object from that IO global. If you would like to use the local version of the client side JS file, you can find it at node module socket.io client dist socket.io.js. You can also use the CDN, okay? So you can just use this directly, right? So I could use that here. So here I've written it like this. Instead, I can actually just go ahead and browser socket io client.js, right? And just a minute. Okay, so I can just simply use this. This I'll put it in the HTML thing, and then later I think I'll just use const socket io and stuff like that, like over here. Let's see how that goes. So notice that I'm not specifying any URL when I call, since it defaults to trying to connect to the host that serves the page. or you can just mention specifically if you are behind a reverse proxy such as Apache or Nginx, please take a look at the documentation for it. Okay, so reverse proxy. If you're hosting your app in a folder that is not the root of your website, then you also need to specify the path in both the server and the client. Okay. If you now restart the process by hitting this and running this and then refresh, so now it says user is connected. Try opening several tabs and you'll see several messages user is connected on. Finally on disconnect event, so then if you refresh the tab several times you can see it in action. So yeah, so simple and straightforward. So now I think what I can do is I have this thing where I just have pencil and code thing. Let's just say we have this, and then let me just try to put in the script over here, right? Maybe I can put this as HTML itself, right? And I can just do this, and then I can just say script, right? And then let's say this, right? Here I think I need to say something like this. Oh, I need to be connected to the same thing. Interesting. Okay, I'll do that. I'll see how I can do that. I need to be connected to this localhost colon 3000 or yeah, it's gonna be tricky. But from the browser also I can do it. So let's just put this in here, and so now I can just do these. Right, but the thing is, yeah, I can't connect to localhost 3001 just by doing these things on the browser, because the HTML page has to be provided by this. But let me just try this out once. This is actually my HTML thing over here, so I don't think I can do it over here. So it says the server responded to the status of 404, okay, and said receiving end does not exist. So we are on the client side. Oh, interesting. We are connected to the server over here. So if you can actually notice over here, when I put this code, we are connected to the server. So that's pretty interesting, right? So actually we can do a lot of stuff over here itself then, right? Awesome. Cool. So I'll just reload this, now cool. So the next thing I can do is basically let's go here. So next is emitting events. So the main idea behind socket.io is that you can send and receive any events you want with any data you want. Okay, so any objects that can be encoded as JSON will do. So as long as you can encode so you can send and receive any events with any data. So the event can have data, and the data should just be an object that can be encoded into a JSON. Because if you have a function, I don't think that can become a JSON, because that's just a function reference. Usually you can't convert that into a JavaScript object notation JSON thing, JSON string. So it has to be just the scalar values, no functions. Scalar values and composite types like arrays and objects, right? So, and apparently binary data is supported too. For now we're not gonna look at binary, right? So this is the person by the way who runs Versal.io, I think Versal.com basically, Versal.com, yeah. So anyways, so now let's make it so that when the user types in a message, the server gets it as a chat message event, right? event name itself is chat space message. You can have any kind of event names. So the script section in index.html should now look like this. So add event listener, so submit, you emit the event chat message, and that's it, right? So if you look at the API documentation here, there is a REST API and then socket.io. Establish a socket.io connection. Um, the client must authenticate after connecting a connection using one of these events. So login with username and password, and optionally 2FA, like two-factor authentication token. So let me see, one moment. So I think these are HTTP endpoints, status page, badge endpoints, and then this. But for socket.io, I think we have other details below. So let's just go down and yep. So socket.io related API. So real-time interaction occurs over socket.io after successful authentication. Client connects. Server may send login required. Client sends login or login by token. Okay. So let me just do this here. So connect and I think we can actually do this on one go instead of like two times, right? I'll just do this and right, so here I'm just gonna go ahead and just copy this and let's say this, right? So now if I just let me just run this on my terminal for now, node index.js. Alright, so this is clear, and if I keep running, some new ID will come up. The next thing to do is socket.on, and let's say if you get a login required event, so it's login required, right? Then you can actually say event. I don't know why this is deprecated. The declaration was marked as deprecated. Read only window property event returns the event is currently being handled by the site's code. Okay, interesting. Let me see how these people handle it. They emit it, and then here on message, I mean, I'm going to use this for now, and let's just say console.log. Server says login is required. Event more like template string, so event, right? So now if I just run this, so event undefined. Okay, so there's nothing much over here, right? So I think we're good to go here. So it says login required, in which case you go ahead and just login, right? So you have to actually send login. So for login, you have to say username and password, and there's no token as of now. That's fine. So you have to. So when you send data, let me check it out. When you emit data, you actually how do you get a response is what I'm wondering. So callback, okay. I think emit can get a callback also. Socket dot emit. Emit has the event name, and then any arguments, right? And there is a callback also, by the way, with an acknowledgement from the server. Yes, there is a callback, by the way, over here. So Let's just go with that. So I'll just say emit, and only when you need a login, I'll just say login, and so that's the login, right? And then I'll just say credentials, login credentials, right? I'll just create a constant over here and say username is admin, and then password is admin123, right? So I just give the login credentials, and then I get a callback. So it says callback the response, right? So I'll just call it as response, and then yep, now we actually get the response. We say okay, and then the message internationalization, and that's a boolean. Okay, token required. Okay, so we have these attempts to login, returns token required true if token is enabled and token wasn't provided, returns. Okay, cool. So I think we can just provide console.log and say response is this, right? If it logs in, great, or else problem, right? Let me actually try this out now. So response server says login is required. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say json.stringify and just put this response there inside this, right? And cool, so it is okay, true, and token, and that's it, right? So response if response dot okay, right? Then console.log, we are logged in, right? Cool. So if I run this, it will say we are logged in, right? So now I think the thing to do is this, right? We have to start looking at how to get monitors. So I think there is a separate list of things to say get, like monitor list. You get basically every monitor payload, full list of monitors the user has access to, sent on connect or login or major list change. So whenever there's a major list change, it sends the list of monitors basically, right? There are also other things, delete monitor from list and whatnot. So when a monitor is deleted, you have to take care of this, but I think the Python API client was not taking care of it anyways. So here I can actually say socket.on and monitor list, and if I get a monitor list, let me just say data or event. I think the payload is complete, so I'll just call it as data and say console.log json.stringify data, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Monitor list is, and then this, right? So currently, do we have any monitors? Nope. It's okay. Let me just run this and see how it shows up. It says monitor list is this, right? So the moment I think we are logged in, we're good. But if we don't log in, I think it's a problem. Let me just try that out. Let me just say this. I think yeah, monitor list doesn't come up. And the moment I do the login, I think everything comes up. So I can just say monitor list is this, right? Cool. So now the next thing to do is I can actually put this thing inside the login required and everything, right? After the login happens, like let's say over here, or I can just put it here. Can put monitor list event listener here too, I guess. And then yeah, so if you want, let's say I want to put it here, then I think it should be the same thing. You still get the monitor list, right? Now if you want, you can put it here also, right? So just say this, and oh, does it come up here? That is because you got the response. Maybe socket is not defined here, probably that's why. Interesting. Okay, so I think you can't put it here, but you can put it here, I think. But anyways, I'm just gonna leave this out here, I think. I'm just gonna leave it here alone, right? And I'm gonna leave these, I'm gonna remove these so that there's no confusion. I don't want too many comments. For example, right? Cool. So now, once I have the monitor list, like now I can actually create a monitor just to see if the monitor list is coming up. I'll just say group 1. I'll just save it, and just a moment. I have something over here, I think. Okay. Cool. So I have group 1 now, and I'm going to just run the Node.js thing just to see how it comes up. So it says monitor list, and then it shows up as this whole big thing, right? So it has a lot of stuff, right? Now, like now, if I say one more monitor, let's say group 2, I wonder how it will show up as. Does it show up as multiple monitor list is the question. It says monitor list, and then oh, okay. So basically what it does is it gives the monitor, like the ID of the monitor list, the ID of the monitor, and then gives the whole monitor inside it. So that's what it does here, monitor ID and then colon the monitor object, which is an object, right? So it's like a array, object of key value, where the key is monitor ID, value is the monitor object. For a moment I misunderstood. Basically I was expecting an array of monitor objects where the monitor ID is available only in the monitor object, but in this case it has monitor ID and then monitor object. Cool. So we can actually get the whole monitor list like this, right? And the next thing to do is, creating a monitor. So I just wanted to see if I can actually create a monitor. Once I'm logged in, login is done. Can I create a monitor now? I think before you do the login itself, you should listen for monitor list. I think if you listen for monitor list later, I think you might not be able to get it. Listen to monitor list event before logging in, so that you can capture the event, right? So that's why I think after the response came and I was looking for this event, it didn't count. Anyways, once you're logged in, I think you can do stuff like add monitor. So if you just simply call add, I think you should be good to go. So when you want to add notifications, you just say add notification and all. But for monitor, you just say add. That's all, right? So I'm just gonna say add, and I'm gonna give a monitor. So monitor cons monitor type is I think the monitor object basically we have like a list of things. I think the type is a group. I mean type is a string. So for example, heartbeat object, notification object, monitor object. Yeah. So type is a string, right? So you can actually say group, right? And then name, and I think anything else is not required. So I'm just gonna try this out. Name and group 3, group let's just say random. Can I do that? I think rand is actually a thing, right? Cons rand require rand. So rand dot node.js rand, not rand. Math.random. Okay. I think we can do math.random. Let's just do math.random here. Math.random. Right. Into 1000. Right. Cool. So I'll just do this and I'll add it. Monitor. And then I'll get a response back. Response. And let me check if the response is good. So add monitor, boolean, message, and monitor ID. Cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just say this, and this. I'll just say login response here so that it's clear. Monitor addition response. Monitor added successfully. Cool. So now if you run this whole thing, you'll be able to see, I think monitor addition okay false, cannot read properties of undefined every. Okay, so I think there was a problem here. So there's a type, there's a name. I think I missed something here. So add data should be monitor monitor object. Okay, it shouldn't just be okay. So I need to say monitor and then say the monitor object. Right, so it's gonna be like this. I'm gonna maybe call this as monitor data. Monitor add monitor request data, right? So now if I add it, okay, cannot read properties of undefined, reading every. Okay, so I'm just wondering what's going on here. Let me check it out. Monitor object. Okay is false. Message cannot read properties of undefined, reading every. Okay, I think it tried to read something called every, and cannot read properties of undefined. Okay, so data is monitor object dot ID. String adds a new monitor configuration. Okay. Maybe I'm missing something. Just a moment. Name, type. Did I give the name? Yes. Did I give the type? Yes. Name, type. Do you really need other stuff? Partial example. Okay. Heartbeat object. Okay. Hmm. Let me see what the Python API does, right? When you add monitor, right? So when you add monitor, I think what they do is, right? You define this, okay? You build monitor data. So they say build monitor data, right? They have all of these things, right? And then they build it. Okay, so I think they have every other thing over here, and then they also provide accepted status codes, and they also provide the notification ID list. So they do it all. So they provide it all. They say retry interval, max retries, but where do they use these though? Okay, so for everything they're adding stuff. So if the type is game dig, then add this. If it's radius, this add this and all that. Okay. So for port, ping, and all that, you need the host name. Okay, so this is basically, I think, data is basically just a dictionary, I think. So it's just updating extra thing. So if the version is like this, then you need the parent like here, and then does the parent come up anywhere else? I think no. Cool. So what else? So you need the interval, you need retry interval, you need max retries, you need notification ID list, upside down. So description, recent interval, HTTP body encoding. Okay. So for HTTP you need the URL. Okay, makes sense. For HTTP keyword gRPC you need status codes. Okay. Makes sense. So what I'm just wondering now is, what is the most basic thing that's required? I don't know. Let me check what the front end of Uptime Kuma sends. So let's say add monitor. Monitor type, monitor list. Monitor setting dialog. Okay. Type. So whenever you create a group, let's just do this group. You still say heartbeat interval. Okay. You need retries. You still need retries. Okay. So you need all of this, is it? Okay. So description, I'll leave it for now. Let me start with the friendly. So name is done. Heartbeat interval, right? So setting dialog, methods, toggling, save monitor. I want to see which part of this is this. This is part of what is the question? Edit monitor, is it? Okay. So let me just, what is this? Let me close this up. So edit monitor is what we're looking for. So edit monitor, and here we have group and stuff. When you click save, what happens is the question. T and then save. Okay. What's that though? What's T? Ping timeout label, ping timeout description, example. Okay. What is this? I don't get it. Edit monitor. This dot monitor dot type equal to group. Okay. Ping. Okay. So I think we need some more stuff, and the server is basically just saying that, I guess, cannot read properties of undefined. Reading every. Let me just check what the backend mentioned here, right? Okay. So there is something cannot of undefined reading valid to. Okay. Add this dot TLF info cert fixed type error cannot of reading every. Okay. We need every, right? Reading every. What is every? Okay. Basically, it's status codes. They want status codes. Okay. So they need status codes, and only then it will work, it seems. Okay, that's weird. So I said monitor type is group, and they still need status codes, is it? Okay, so on add, the first thing they do is check login, and then notification ID list, and then code is string. Accepted status codes are not all strings, so it should accepted status codes should be there. And then Kafka producers, we should give some default values, I guess. Yes. So the Python API is taking care of all of that. Cool. So looks like you do have to provide everything, or else things will go wrong. So for example, if I give the status codes now, I think it will just be like next new thing will come up. Interesting. It still says cannot read properties of undefined. Accepted status codes, not every. Codes JSON. I think there is an everywhere, is it? Every. This is for edit monitor. Okay. Weird. We did just provide it. Oh, you should give us underscore JSON, is it? I don't know. This is version 2, right? They're providing it as JSON, but I provided it as empty monitor and callback. Actually, I think I should be providing it as this and not the other way around. I think it should just be this without the monitor stuff. Yeah, now it says success added. Okay, cool. Monitor added successfully. Okay, so if I remove this accepted status codes, I think there's a problem, is it? Yes. I just need to give this accepted status codes and we're good. Okay. So cool. So the only thing to do is provide the accepted status codes for group and you're good to go. Right, and let's open up those groups and see how it looks like. So if I do an edit, you can actually see the name is this, heartbeat interval is on default and stuff, right? Cool, so it takes up the default and oops, not once, I edit. Cool, so the defaults are there properly. So as you can see, this everything alone was problem. But other than that, if you actually take up, this is null, so stringify will take up null, conditions again null and whatnot. Import the monitor and I think it's good, right? So the defaults that it took up was actually callback, okay, true, bean ID, okay, bean dot validate, bean dot import, okay. So this is actually peak implementations and you'll actually see, okay. So I wonder where this comes from. Dispense monitor. Is there a bean something over here? Monitor dispense nope, monitor, oh yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, but clearly somewhere it's being used. Edit monitor, patch, add monitor, old migrations. There are some old migrations. What about new migrations? I don't know. Cool, so I have to check out where this is coming from. Is there a red bean anything? Okay, I don't know. So basically we are saying that there is a bean and this is coming from here, R. I think should be here, right? An R. Yeah, red bean node. We say R dot and exec dispense, right? So okay, red bean. So I think the defaults come because of the way it is described. Schema, anything. I think this is all because of the MySQL thing. Let me see if I can find that. Not MySQL. I think I used to type MariaDB something. Yep. MariaDB. No, not here. I don't know where I did it, but cool, it's okay. Let me see if I can actually find it here now. No. to somewhere else. MariaDB, okay, let me just go back like this. Yeah, cool. Okay. So here, when I say describe monitor and go check out the defaults, you can actually see the default is 20 and all that. So I think just accepted status codes was required, and that did the job. So I can actually just use this Node.js code and get it done, right? Let me see if I can actually connect to the one in the other side, right? In the meantime, I think this is pretty straightforward, creating the group. Now the next thing I think to do is check out, okay, emission is clear. So, and then on the chat message, we print the chat message, okay. I think here you can actually see when you type something, it comes up here, right? So, oops, just a minute. So socket, much real time, and that's it, right? So with this, they do broadcasting. So from the server, these people are emitting, even to all connected sockets. If you want to send a message to everyone except for a certain emitting socket, we have the broadcast flag for emitting from the socket. So once you say on and then on connection and then broadcast certain emitting sockets, you can just say socket or broadcast.emit. In this case, for the sake of simplicity, we'll send a message to everyone including the sender. So in this case, they just, like, whenever there's a chat message, they just emit the message to everyone. And on the client side, when you capture a chat message, we'll include it in the page. So on chat message, we just get it on the page, and you should see this now. So, and type something up here. Hello there. Wow. Such real time. Ha ha ha. Ah. Cool. So overview of the APIs. So basically, from client to server, you can actually do emit and on, right? And on connection, you get a socket, and then using the socket, you can do everything. Emit on, like, this is on the server, okay? So the server has many sockets. The client has only one socket, right? So I think what you can see here is you get the sockets. The socket comes from IO thing. So here also socket comes, but as a callback to the IO. And so yeah, so there are many sockets on the server side. So every socket you use it and do on, hello, and whatnot. And there is only one socket on the client side. And server side, whenever there's a connection, the socket is created and all that, and then you emit, it emits stuff, right? Client emits, server gets, server emits, and then client gets it, right? So you can also see how client can emit anything and everything. So yeah, and you just need to get the list of values R1, R2, R3, and so on, right? So you can just get multiple things over there as a list of things, or you can just send some object and everything. So yeah, and you can send a callback also, and I think we'll just call that callback, right? So you can actually see the callback being called over here in the Uptime Kuma. So here you can actually see that the callback is actually called, whatever function you pass gets called and that's what you get, right? So on this is not needed, so calling this is not needed, so you can just send directly. Bad, good. So acknowledgements, events are great, but in some cases you may want a more classic request response API, and Circular, this feature is named as acknowledgement. It comes in two flavors. There's a callback function. You can add a callback as the last argument to the event, and this callback will be called once the other side has acknowledged the event. So you have this, and finally a callback event, and then this callback is just callback. From server to client, you say timeout and emit. This is from client to server. Client is sending something, server is sending something, and then client can just call. With a promise, the emit with act method provides the same functionality but returns a promise which will resolve once the other side terminates. So emit with act, so yeah, and then you get a error if you want, you do the await. So yeah, and then same thing from server to client, so you just send something, emit with act, so you just call back this with right. Catch-all listeners, so on any, so a catch-all listener is a listener that will be called for any incoming event. This is useful for debugging your application. On any event name and then args, and you can just get it. Simply for outgoing packets, any on any outgoing, so this is for the receiver, for the sending side also. Server API is broadcast using emit with io.emit. So this is like io, this is for all of the clients. So then you have rooms, so you can join some room. So io to you can send to some rooms around. Arbitrary channel that sockets can join and leave can be used to broadcast events to a subset of connected clients. So socket joins this room to some room emit, except some room emit. So all connected clients except those in this room. So you can do that. Handling disconnections, I think there's a lot of stuff over here. I'll probably read this later, but I think disconnect is the thing there. So next steps, how we can improve this. So chat message and then not connected. It's not always connected. Server does not store any event. So even worse, it is not possible to maintain a connection alive forever, which means that your application needs to be able to synchronize the local state of the client with the global state on the server after a temporary disconnection. So automatically try to reconnect after a small delay. However, the any missed event during the disconnection will effectively be lost for this client. Disconnected and miss some messages. So connection state recovery. First, let's handle disconnections by pretending that there was no disconnection. This feature is called connection state recovery. This feature will temporarily store all the events that are sent by the server and will try to restore the state of a client when it reconnects. Restore its rooms, send it missed events. So you have connection state recovery. So connected recovered false. So here you can actually see, wow, much disconnected real time. Okay, and then you connect again, you get it right. So as you can see in this video, the real time message is eventually delivered and the connections is added for demonstration purposes. So you can just add the disconnect button and it will just say disconnect, right? And it will disconnect also. But this is not, why isn't this enabled by default? There are several reasons it doesn't always work. For example, if the server abruptly crashes or gets restarted, then the client state might not be saved. It is not always possible to enable this feature when scaling up. So that being said, it is indeed a great feature since you don't have to synchronize the state of the client after a temporary disconnection. So we'll explore a more general solution in the next step. Okay. So server delivery, there are two common ways to synchronize the state of the client upon reconnection. Either the server sends the whole state, or the last event it has processed and the server sends the missing pieces. So both are totally valid solutions and closing only depend on your use case. Ladders. So this is the messages on. Okay, so you'll have to process the messages. So they're using SQLite here, right? SQLite and SQLite 3. So in a SQL table, so they actually do this open and then chat.db and all that, and then say this. So driver is this, and then client offset, and then context. Okay. So I think so insert into content values and then message. So basically you have the message. Okay. Only content comes up. This is unique. Okay, and this is also unique. This is auto increment and this is unique. So how does this get into it? Client will keep track of and then keep track of the offset. Okay. So server offset 0. I say server offset. So socket.auth.server offset and then okay. This is open. Insert into if it's not recovered, where ID is greater than okay. Oh, okay. But what is this client offset? I'm not sure. But basically, any ID basically it gets incremented, right? Any message it comes up, and whenever you get a socket.io auth server offset, and you basically say that whenever you get the offset message and then the offset server offset, so here you can actually see message result dot last ID is sent basically. So server offset is set, and then later when you notice that server will send missing messages upon reconnection. So this is on the index.html. Again, this is on the server side. It says not recovered. If the connection state recovery was not successful, right, then this ID is greater than, and then you put socket.handshake.auth server offset or 0 from 0 or from whatever it sent, right? So basically it has the data here. So let's say last message was 10, later you get 15, so only 10 is over here. When it connects back, it's like 10, so anything above 10 it will give. So connected, recovered false, wow much, disconnected, real time, so recovered is false. Okay. Okay, so basically it's the disconnected. Okay, wait. So I think they refreshed the page and they got the whole thing. So that's how they got it all. It works both after a temporary disconnection and a full page refresh. Cool. So interesting. So the difference between connections is that a successful recovery might not need to hit your main database. It might fetch the messages from a Redis stream, for example. Client delivery. Cool. I'll probably get to this later. I'll pause for now. Bye bye.